To start off on a positive note, I do think I undersold Eve of the Daleks in my Chris Chibnall festive special video, as on rewatch, while it's nothing amazing and particularly original, it's a really fun, simple concept which is executed really well, and I personally just don't get the hate towards it. Legend of the Sea Devils, on the other hand, I do absolutely get why people don't like this one. Sea Devils versus Pirates is a story idea that has an opportunity to be legitimately great, or at the very least mildly entertaining, but not only is the script incredibly weak and underwhelming, but the story is rendered almost completely unwatchable by really shoddy editing in post-production, with obvious ADR, special effects which are not great, but that's par for the course with Doctor Who. But for me, one of the most frustrating elements is failing at basic character continuity within scenes, as the likes of the Doctor and Yaz would just jump from one location to another without basic 10-second shots to establish them going from one place to the other. It's incredibly distracting at points and really takes me out of it, and I think the worst crime of this story is not having the guts to call the Sea Devil's giant monster the Merker. I also don't understand why for a special episode it's barely 47 minutes. Given all the awkward cuts, I assume it was reduced for a specific runtime, but I don't get why, and honestly I hope we get a director's cut someday so we can actually see a watchable version of this story. And then we come on to Power of the Doctor, which by all accounts is a pretty fitting finale for Chibnall's run. Now having a somewhat decent runtime to show off all his ideas, he decides to cram so many story concepts which alone could carry an entire episode, but instead have to share screen time, and it becomes a really messy experience. There's a lot of fan service as well, but I think compared to other stories in this run, they do seem to come from a place of love. So getting to see Ace and Tegan say goodbye to their doctors is still very touching. As a consequence of all this, it means that Jodie Whittaker barely has anything to do in her final story, and the only major highlight she gets is her regeneration scene itself and the goodbye she has with Yaz. In fact, the romance aspect is one of the most consistently strong elements across all three specials. More could have been done with it, but the final execution is pretty sweet.